Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, you're listening to Radio in Motion, and this is an installment of The Ugly Truth. And folks, the ugly truth is the Marvel movies and Disney are just going in the wrong direction. If the direction is losing money, then they're going in the right direction. But the latest Marvel movie, The Marvels, now there's no other way to say it. It's officially a flop. And you know, I'll get into some of the specifics of why that is, and I know everyone has their own opinion, but first let's talk numbers, because numbers don't lie. Remember, budget is a big part about making your money back, and the budget for this movie, so they say, you never really know, was $274 million. I tell you, first of all, you know, we're worried about the homeless and the hungry. As much as I love the movies and pop culture and entertainment, I tell you, could feed a lot of people with $274 million. But anyway, we won't get too deep into that. But with that kind of budget, you really need to get some big returns, because remember, that's just paying for the movie, supposedly. You know, that's paying everyone, the actors, the actresses, all the wages, the producers, the directors, all the carpenters, the lighting, the gaffers, everything, all the food, caterers, everything. But you know what that doesn't account for? It doesn't account for marketing. Marketing is a big deal. If you don't know about the movie, if it's just hearsay, we don't live in the world of hearsay. If you don't see it on a billboard or a flyer on TikTok or Twitter or YouTube or on your TV or hear it on the radio, you don't know it's at the theater. And very often that could be up to $200 million or more just in marketing. So a budget of $274 million. The weekend box office openings, this is according to Box Office Mojo, was $47 million in the U.S. $47 million. And $41 million international, with a total of $88 million for the first weekend. And you're like, all right, it's off to a slow start. No, that's not a slow start. That's not a start. That's not even a slow burn. That's not burning. Those cinders are going out. In comparison, if anyone did watch Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the Ant-Man movie was fine, but this one, again, they pushed the message rather than the story. Now, the Wasp: Quantumania, now that one was considered Marvel's first actual flop, and that one had a budget of $200 million, but its opening weekend was $106 million and $206 million international. So you see where I'm headed with this? Already the numbers there look better on the opening weekend, and that one was considered a flop, and already it was making back its money in the opening weekend. So if that one was a flop, it's not looking good for the Marvels. So, you know, let's get on the Wayback Train to the original days of when they were developing this whole Marvel universe. I think everyone worldwide, young and old, short and fat, everybody, men and women, whether you're a fan or not, I think everyone has seen a Marvel movie. And I dare say they would certainly recognize characters like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America. By the way, these characters weren't exactly well known before that, but you know what they did well? They did well to develop an actual story arc for the characters and a backstory so that you actually cared about these names. Yeah, okay, they threw Robert Downey Jr. at it, but you know what? He was going through a bit of a comeback. It could have been a total flop. But the drive was for the story, for the characters, the acting, the writing. These are important parts when you're trying to engage your audience. And that's what they did for a good 10 years. The whole phase 1, all the way up to Endgame, fantastic. Still fantastic to binge it to these days, to watch all the movies, to see how all the movies connected. And you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe these movies aren't for you now. Maybe you're not the target audience. Well, first of all, that's Disney not knowing their target audience. When you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody. And if you think this is about, you don't like strong women in movies, really? Because Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver in the Aliens movies, she is well known as being badass, and men and women all around the world love those movies, love that character. Sarah Connor from Terminator, absolute badass, written well, acted well, and everyone gets behind her. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, that did very well. People like Wonder Woman. So nothing to do with strong female. Has to do with strong character, well-written character. And also, I'll be honest, the thing with the Marvels, except for Captain Marvel, nobody has any idea who the other characters are because they're just pushing it on Disney Plus. I don't want to be mean. No one's watching Disney Plus for any of this crap. A small amount of maybe super fans, but if you're looking to appeal to the wider audience, that's gone. They're gone. They don't even know who these people are. They don't know what their story is. You could try to weave that into the movie, but frankly, they didn't. Look, I'm not going to review the movie. You can read the reviews, and by all means, always check it out for yourself. Don't listen to me. Make your own opinion. But I'm just giving you the facts as they are right now. So the other problem has nothing to do with strong women or strong men in movies. It's a well-written character. And this one especially, with the Marvels, you have to understand there's another element that nobody likes in a movie because you can see right through it. And it's called a Mary Sue. A male character can be this as well. And unfortunately, that's the only way they seem to be able to write women now, is that a Mary Sue is a character that is just awesome from beginning to end and can do no wrong. That's boring. That's not the human condition. That's not the human journey. We all have flaws. And then, they're all lady bosses. They start off great, they're great in the middle, and they're great at the end. And everyone else just stands below them and must worship. And then, again, you may counteract and say, oh, well, isn't that how male characters are? Isn't that the patriarchy? Isn't that the misogyny of the male characters? For every character that you would try and name as a male character who's badass all the way through, I'll name you 10 of them who aren't. And they're also probably, maybe it is an action movie. But you know what? They all have flaws. They all started off somewhere different. They all started off on a journey to where they had to learn something. They actually stopped and learned something, or they had to get better at something, or they were defeated. Most often that's the case. They were defeated badly, and you see it, and then you empathize with them as you would, as the human condition. But then at the end, they triumph, and you're with them. This is writing 101, and I don't know why they don't get that. They want to write someone who's unrealistic, and then you're thinking, well, they want the young girls to aspire to be that. To aspire to be a jerk and to be unrealistic and to say, I'm awesome and just deal with it. That's nobody wants to be like that. No one wants to be, narcissistic like that and just up themselves and think they're awesome. Male or female, no one likes that kind of character. So again, there's a lot going on here, and I'm sure you've all heard it before. You hear the term woke. The problem with trying to put a message in a movie over the actual story. So again, you think, oh, you're just someone that you can't stand diversity. Right, okay, I think all characters in movies are awesome. Whoever is the best for the role, whether they're male or female, black or white, Asian or Samoan, old or young, I don't care. As long as they're the best person for that part and it's acted or written well, they're awesome. One of my favorite characters and one of the most popular characters is from the 90s, and that's Blade, played amazingly by Wesley Snipes. That movie was awesome. And again, at a time when people weren't even really understanding, they understood Batman, that was coming out, Tim Burton's Batman with Michael Keaton. But beyond that, I'm sure they weren't quite ready to jump in to what, Marvel successfully did for the first 10 years, to bring sort of lesser known characters. But Blade is awesome, and he happens to be an African-American man, and he's just awesome. So nothing to do with race, color, creed, or gender. Has to do with an awesome character. And again, all the movies in the first 10 years, the Marvel movies, had an eclectic cast. Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, another amazing character, female character. And she doesn't have to emasculate the men while she's next to him. That's the other thing. Why do you have to bring your fellow heroes down and say, well, I'm more awesome than you because I'm awesome. My awesomeness reigns. Who wants to see that? And she is also something that you can relate to. She's flawed. She has an actual story arc and a character arc, which is what you want to see. Nobody is 100% perfect. That is boring. So that's the other problem is they think they have this template and they're trying to push this message, and they feel like they have to do box ticking for Hollywood, which is sad. I think once you start trying to tick boxes, you lose the whole art of storytelling. You lose the whole point of someone going to the movies to experience something and be sympathetic and empathetic to, and you of course you transfer yourself onto the screen and you think you're them. Again, and that can be any hero. Maybe I can't be Wonder Woman, but the things that she does, or she makes a choice, and her morals and her strength, and her intelligence, all put together in a great character. I wish I could be that. I'm not saying I want to put on the golden bird and the bra, but I would like to be like Wonder Woman. Same with again, I don't know why it has to be like for like. Batman and Superman can inspire anybody, boys or girls, to be like that, to have that spirit, to have that morality, and to have that bravery. That's what they're missing. So they try to force this eclectic cast to say, well, now we've ticked all the boxes. When you go down box ticking, you will never be able to fill it up. It might as well just be a cast of thousands on the stage saying this movie is about diversity. If the movie is about a transgender woman, African American, handicapped, autism, ticking all those boxes, then that's what the movie is about. Or if it's about someone who happens to be that, happens to have those traits, happens to be that, and the movie is about something else, well, that's different. When you're box ticking, you have to tick every box. So we have a black female lead. We have a lesbian lead. We threw in a white male just for the hell of it. So we're doing well. We have someone who's fat and thin, tall and short, old and young. Hold on. We don't have someone who's Vietnamese or Korean or Torres Strait Islander. We don't have someone who's Native American. What the hell is this movie about? Is this movie about the town with all cultures? Again, that's one thing, and that's a beautiful thing. Like I've talked about before, I miss the America, the melting pot. The whole point, especially of like an amazing city like New York, is it is a melting pot of all these cultures, and you're mixing that up, and you're taking the best of each, and together, you've become stronger because of all these cultures. That is a beautiful thing. But in a movie is about a story, and that story needs to trump everything else. The character needs to trump everything else, unless maybe it is about an historical figure. Well, that's different. Okay, if it's about a historical figure and these are the facts, well, then it's a documentary. But again, these are the things that worry me, that they're just doing box ticking and it's not working. They're trying to push the message. The movie is more political than it is entertainment. And I get it. Marvel movies, they're hard to differentiate from a ride at Disneyland, which is hilarious because Disneyland is about just going to the amusement park, and going to a Marvel movie, it does seem more like an amusement ride than a movie. But again, those first movies still had great story and great character development. I'm all for different kind of movies now, frankly. I think the whole idea of the superhero, unfortunately, I think it's been played out, and that's the other problem. I think it's done. I'm looking for just new stories. I'm actually excited about Rebel Moon by Zack Snyder. Look that one up, definitely. Now, that one you could say, well, that's Zack Snyder trying to do his version of Star Wars. Well, all right, let's see what he can do with it, because it's not Star Wars. again, maybe there's always similar themes, and there always is through time. There are similar themes of heroes and villains, but a new story would be nice, something different. Disney is just trying to play the same old cards. They purchased Lucasfilm, and they try to just milk it dry, and they have. They've destroyed Indiana Jones, they've destroyed Star Wars, and now I think they've destroyed Marvel because they just can't come up with new ideas. Just try. Be brave. Think outside the box. How do you think George Lucas got there? In the 70s, someone took a chance on him. Nowadays, no one would take a chance on George Lucas. You want to do what? You're dressing him up how? It's a spaceship what? There's a robot and he's a who? And the dad it's a mask and he's in a respirator and the lightsaber, what? They would just not take a chance. So I think it's time to take a chance, folks, because trying to make movies political and push a message over the story, you're going to lose. And people are speaking right now with their pocketbooks. I will end it with one more thing. You think, well, how does this keep happening? How are these still funded when they're going to start flopping? Remember that there are investors behind these, and they have deep pockets, and they're the ones that want to push the message, the agenda over anything else. I say to you, you need to go into politics. You need to make a documentary. Leave movies out of it. Let them entertain us. It's escapism. Let us go to the movies and escape like we used to. Let us forget our lives for a moment and the reality of our lives. We don't need to go to the movie and have the message pushed down our throat at every turn. We get it. We're terrible people. I'm a sinner. I'm terrible. I'm a white male. I'm the worst. The patriarchy. Destroy me. But let me have a movie now and again that I like before I die. Can I have that? Can I at least have that? A great movie. Mission Impossible. Top Gun. And again, Rebel Moon coming up. Looks great. By the way, has a very diverse cast, and I think the female lead is a strong female. But knowing Zack Snyder, he'll write her well. He'll develop the character well. And that's the difference. Anyway, that's the ugly truth for tonight. Again, I'm not trying to bash Marvel. I have liked those movies. I've stood behind them. But, they've gone with politics over story, and this is what you get. So the Marvel's not doing well. Anyway, check it out if you want. Make your own opinion, as always. All right, thanks for joining me on The Ugly Truth. More great movies, I wish. More great music up next from Electric 80s. You're listening to Radio Motion on Sunbury Radio 99.3 FM.